Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Al Holland Show. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and we're joined by the University of Pikeville head football coach, Coach Al Holland Jr. Tonight, we'll talk about last week's action as the Bears were hosting Cumberland University out of Tennessee and the Bears' stretch run. What's up next for the Bears? Well, Campbellsville on the road this weekend in a incredibly important Mid-South Conference East run. We'll talk about that. We'll meet a couple of the Bears, and we'll talk U-Pike football tonight. Coach Al Holland Jr. joins us now. And, Coach, it feels a little bit like a broken record. A few mistakes make a big difference, and the Bears lose another close one.
Another tough one, and this one's at home, and that even makes it even tougher. I feel like we was well prepared and had a great game plan going in on both sides of the football and on special teams, and just a couple mistakes here and there that come back to haunt you late in the ball game, and had some opportunities late, and still trying to learn and find ourselves and learn how to finish, and that's part of the process, and that's what we talk to these kids about is the process day in and day out, and they got to continue to learn, and we got to learn from these experiences. And this is really 3 ball games that we've had opportunities to be able to finish off and to win ball games, and we just haven't got it done. But I love our attitude. The guys continue to work, and I love this football team, and but we just got to find a way, and that just and it's all of a sudden going to click, and it's going to seem like it was really easy or really simple, but but these guys continue to come to work every day. They're rolling their sleeves up. It's a tough time in the season. Everybody's sore. Everybody's midway through their season right now. And, depth's playing a factor. And, we got some guys that's getting some critical snaps right now that's getting some great experience. And hopefully it's going to pay off for us in the last 4 weeks in them Eastern Conference games. But, I'm hating that we're having to come up on the wrong side of things right now. But we got to continue to work.
Respect the process. It's on screen every week, and it certainly is a process. It's amazing when we look back, and most recently the loss to Cumberland University, 37-33, 4-point loss. You mentioned 3 games, 11 points, and you turn those around, and this team is 5-1.
Right.
I guess the positive looking at this is you're 1-0 in the Mid-South Conference East.
That's right.
And so many of these games that other divisions, other parts of the college football world, the NFL world.
Right.
Those games mean something. Those losses, teams that are 2-4 are really feeling poorly about their season, but you still sit atop the Mid-South Conference East standings along with the University of Cumberland because you're 1-0 in the division. That's what matters.
And that's the big thing, We're trying to fight to win our first Mid-South Conference East championship, and it's a 5-game season there. We've got one of those under our belt, and that's big for us. And we're using these other experiences as learning experiences. Yes, they are crossover Western Conference games and part of the Mid-South, but they're non-conference games, and they don't hurt us here. They help you as far as building a resume. Let's say you don't make it and you're not number 1 and you win the East, because year in and year out, the playoffs, they're going to take anywhere from 3 to 4 teams from the Mid-South Conference. It's sort of like the SEC of, Division I football. Tough teams week in and week out, and you're going to play a tough schedule. And, these have been grinded out tough ball games for us. Sure. But, we got to find ways to win these games. We can't make excuses. And, we expect high expectations for each one of our guys and our football team as a whole. And, we're still trying to find that way, and we continue to work and try to put these guys in great position week in and week out so we can have an opportunity to win ball games.
Week in and week out, you've got an opponent
That's right.
who can come to play.
Yep.
The Mid-South Conference, it's that way, and we've compared it often to Division I, the SEC. The Mid-South Conference, much like that in small college football. Everyone can play. Mm-hmm. If you don't show up on any given Saturday, you're going to get your tail handed to you,
right.
or you're going to lose a close game. And one mistake can make a difference in the game. 2 mistakes, 3 mistakes.
Right.
In the game on Saturday, you had over 500 yards offense. As an offensive-minded guy, as a priority, you've got to love that. You had 5 more first downs than your opponent. You've got to love that. If you knew going into that you're going to have over 500 yards of offense, you'd have better time of possession and 5 more first downs than your opponent, you'd have to take that.
Oh, I would take it any day of the week and say, we 9 times out of 10 we're going to walk out there with a win.
Sure.
But we go out there and dig ourselves a hole early in the ball game. You fumble on the first series on offense. You give them a score right there, and then we fight back and score and tie it up, and then all of a sudden we get a blocked punt. And just communication, not taking the right steps and getting the ball off in time, and and all of a sudden it's 14 points, and you've given 14 points, and you can't do that in this league. And
right.
You know it, and I know it, and week in and week out. But and then in the third quarter, we go in at halftime, it's 14-7. But in the third quarter, we dig ourselves a hole. We're down 21, but we fight back. The kids don't quit, and that's what I love about this football team. And and that says a lot about their character. Is they still got that fire in them, and they're not going to quit on me. And they're going to continue to work for us day in and day out. And we fight back and give ourselves an opportunity at the end of the game. You get a first down and get a holding call late in the game that brings it back. And so some of those little things that we can critique and get fixed, but we can't dig ourselves a hole week in and week out like this.
When you dig a hole and you have to rally, how much of it is a factor late in the game when you need that last push, that last series, that last defensive stand late in the game? The energy that your team's had to expend to rally, how big is that?
We're spending so much energy having to try to fight our way back in, or overcome some adversity throughout, instead of like I talked to our guys, let's keep the pedal down. We get some leads, and let's push the pedal and continue to expand those leads, and let's continue to fly to the football. And if the ball goes batting in the air, let's go be there in position to make an interception, or be there if somebody misses a sack to wrap up to get the sack for us, or on offense, flying to the football and the ball comes out, we're there to pick it up and to recover a fumble and not turn it over. But don't wait for somebody else to make a play. Let's be there and put ourselves in position to make those plays. And hopefully that'll help us in late games and not use so much of our energy and having to try to fight back into games, and help us maybe finish late in the game.
It's Coach Al Holland, Jr., head coach of your University of Pikeville Bears. 2-4, 1-0 in the Mid-South Conference East, and a couple of those playmakers join us tonight on the Al Holland Show. Nick Steff from the defensive side, Elijah Bell from the offensive side, as we'll talk with two of those Bears players. Also, we'll get a preview on the matchup coming up this Saturday on the road at Campbellsville, as we're joined by the head coach of your UPike Bears. Coach, you look at the positives from the stats and from the box score. You also look at the negatives. This team continues to be penalized a lot. How much of that is reputation with the officials? 7 penalties versus only 1, which is unheard of in college football, a team only being penalized 1 time.
Right, and I think it might be a little bit of reputation from the past, and we're trying to critique that every day. And we got out there and ran our penalties, ran for our penalties this morning in practice, and we're going to hold our guys accountable and try to fix those little things. But 1 penalty on the opposing team, nobody's perfect, right. And I know that. And that's tough, and us being at home. But it is what it is. We can't do nothing about it. You can't cry about it. It's not going to change the calls. We got to go back and just continue to work and do what we can handle and put ourselves in position. And let's not be in position to have a penalty to even be questioned to be able to be called. So our guys are learning from those experiences, and hopefully that pays off for us.
Very good. Coach Al Holland, Jr., head coach of your University of Pikeville Bears. The Bears coming off a 4-point loss to Cumberland University out of Tennessee last Saturday. Right now we're going to take a look at some highlights from that game at the Hamley Complex. Nasty day weather-wise.
Oh, yes. But, the rain wasn't too bad. It held off at times. Here's early in the game, Terrell White coming up and making a big tackle on the sideline here. Mark Hooper continues to play well for us, the guy we had on the show. They call a horse collar here, a little questionable call here early in the game. Hooper comes up with another big tackle here in the backfield. Ramon Morris, forces a 4th down right here, batting the ball away. We're just right there inches away from, getting an interception. And that's what I'm talking about, guys just being in position. Jack Hopkins continues to play well that we had on the show. Interception here and had some big plays. Was one of our players of the week as a team this week. Terrell White gets a deflection here. Big play here in the ball game. And Jack, right here was a 3rd down late in the ball game. They end up having to punt back to us. and giving us an opportunity. You know, Sonny run a little option here. Reminds him of his old high school days of him getting out on the edge and getting vertical and getting a touchdown for us. You know, he continues to play really, really well for us. It's been big for us. You know, continues to improve in the passing game through for, you know, close to 300 yards. You know, Langford being one of his main targets, and Langford had another solid day for us. Jamar Kirksey, we put him at fullback and making some nice cuts, just mixing things up and handing the fullback the ball. And, you know, we've been so much handing it to Weaver, and he's such a big part of this offense. You know, Austin Prey getting involved. We got to get more production out of him. He continues to improve and get healthier, and that's been big for us, and I expect big things out of him. You know, Elijah Bell here with a nice run out on the edge and scoring here. We'll get to talk to him later on here in a few minutes, and you know, he's electrifying and helps us in our return game and in that slot position. You know, Jamar Kirksey with a big run here and rallying us back here in this ball game.
Two-headed attack, Jamar Kirksey, of course, Weaver, and now add Elijah Bell to the mix. You've got a solid rushing attack.
Yep. Anthony Brown, one of our redshirt freshman receivers, you know, getting involved. A nice big catch that ended up setting up a score here that you see Weaver here get in on in our wild bear formation. You know, this was late in the ball game. Sonny finding Bell across the middle and letting Bell use that speed. Langford's got to get his eyes up there and help us out, and maybe it might be a touchdown here. But it does set up for a touchdown and a score for us. Weaver here finishing the drive off. But, you know, we had an opportunity late in the ball game to go down and take it 90 yards as a score. And, you know, those are 2-minute situations. Them things that we practice every Wednesday in practice in different type scenarios. And, you know, we got to start converting some of those. We're doing it in practice at different times, and we're getting stops. You know, it's great competition every single day, every Wednesday on that 2-minute drill. We got to, you know, convert that over to a game day for us.
Coach Al Holland, Jr., head coach of your UPike football Bears, 3 losses, 11 points. That close to being 5-1. You got to love when you look at video, seeing all the positives and how far this team has come since August already. Really finding itself offensively. The defense has been solid enough throughout much of the season. It's just making it all click and all come together. And hopefully that Mid-South Conference East run, that's when it does.
Oh yeah, and, you know, and that's what we're really working for. And, you know, we see the big picture of things, but we want to get wins right now, and everybody does. And, you know, anytime you line up, whether you're sitting here playing checkers, I want to try to win. And our guys have that same mentality, and they want to win at everything. And you know, we just got to continue to push, and it's a process. You know, so we got to respect the process and continue to stick together through thick and thin.
Coach Al Holland, head coach of your UPike Bears. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll meet a couple of the Bears. Nick Steff and Elijah Bell coming up on the Al Holland Show. It's presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back to the Al Holland Show, where we're talking University of Pikeville Bears football. The Bears 2-4, coming off a hard-fought loss to Cumberland University last weekend, and joined by one of the most electrifying players we've seen this year for the Bears on special teams as a receiver as well, Elijah Bell, 5'9" sophomore out of Lexington. Elijah, welcome to the Coach Al Holland Show.
Thank you for having me.
First, we'll talk academics. The student athlete, Elijah Bell, what's your academic major? What are your plans in the future?
I'm a business administration, sports management. I plan on helping out with kids back at home once I can be able to help.
Very good.
Graduate and get my degree.
Many people in our area remember Elijah Bell from his high school career. You were one of those guys across the Commonwealth that was a playmaker. A guy that was an absolute burner, had that extra gear that many of us slow guys respect tremendously. We got to see you play in high school when you were at Henry Clay. Talk about your high school career.
So I enjoyed my high school career. I had very nice teammates. Was very coachable. Coaches was very good. High school was just a very good point in time to me. I made my name. Now I'm just trying to step up and make a name in college.
Your experience with Eastern Kentucky prior to the University of Pikeville. You took on a team called the Belfry Pirates.
Yeah, I kind of like it down here. I like the atmosphere, like the fans that they have, the way that everyone like continues to help with the team, and everybody helps with the sports. I like how everybody is in with the team.
Let's talk about your journey from Henry Clay to the University of Pikeville. How did all that happen? Talk about your recruitment.
First I graduated, and then I kind of went slow because I didn't know where I was going to go. Kind of still talking to my grandfather and everything about that situation. Then I ended up going to JUCO in California.
Right.
Did all right out there. Then he tried to move me to DB. Got in contact with Timmy, and actually got in contact with Coach Holland. Came back home on Christmas break, I believe. Coach Holland got up to me as soon as possible, and he talked me into it.
How difficult was it going from Kentucky to California? How tough was that being away from home, that far from home, for the first time?
I mean, it was kind of tough, but I kind of dealt with it when I was younger. I played a lot of AAU, so I'm used to traveling, but only thing difference is my grandparents and family wasn't there to support me.
Absolutely. Elijah Bell, you had a big game against Cumberland U. The Bears come up short. Are the close game losses affecting this team mentally, or is this team still confident for the stretch run?
I think it's just another lesson learned from both sides of the ball and on special teams. Just something that we all can pick up and practice. The better practices we have throughout the week, the better we can play on Saturdays.
Elijah Bell, you've been called one of the most electrifying players in the Mid-South Conference. Is Elijah Bell the fastest player in the Mid-South?
I wouldn't like to put it on my name, but I would like to show y'all, but I can tell y'all.
Is Elijah Bell the fastest member of this U-Pike team?
Yes, sir.
Have you been tried?
No, sir.
Anyone stepped up and challenged you, and it just hasn't happened yet?
I've tried to challenge people, but
They won't go there.
they say they will, but it doesn't get that far.
It doesn't happen. I understand that. I've seen you run, and there's some great quickness. Great to have you as part of this University of Pikeville team. Big game against Cumberland. Good luck this week against Campbellsville. We wish you good health, and let's close it out on a win streak.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Coach, that's Elijah Bell on the Coach Al Holland Show. We'll step out, and we'll go to the defensive side. Next steps coming up. You've seen him in the backfield for many opponents over the years. The Coach Al Holland Show returns after this. Welcome back to the Al Holland Show. Andrew Joyce, your host, and we'll be rejoined by your U-Pike head football coach, Al Holland Jr., in just a few moments as we get a scouting report on Campbellsville. That's coming up Saturday on the road in Mid-South Conference West action before the Bears begin a Mid-South Conference East Division run to close out the season. Thanks so much to Elijah Bell joining us last segment. We now go to the defensive side of the ball, and he wears number 97. You've seen him in opponents' backfields many times. He's a defensive specialist, 6'5", senior. Nick Steff joins us now. And Nick, welcome to the Al Holland Show.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Before we talk football and we talk about your ability to get in the backfields and create chaos for quarterbacks, let's talk about Nick Steff, the student athlete. Let's talk about your major, and as a senior, what are your plans for the future?
I'm a criminal justice major, trying to be a fish and wildlife game officer.
Yeah.
Move back home.
So you've got an interest in the outdoors.
Yeah.
Are you an outdoorsman, and how do you work that in around football season?
Well, it's difficult. I hunt and fish. I usually try to wait until after football season to get a little hunting in, and during winter break and stuff like that.
Very good. And you must be a fan of the television show Northwood's Law.
Yes.
Yeah. The fish.
I've watched that a few times.
Exactly. Of course, the game wardens from up north as they battle the outdoorsmen, and I think it's a little unfair. I think they set up the outdoorsmen from time to time.
Yeah.
But that's your future, being a fish and game warden or working with outdoorsmen. Nick Steff, on the defensive side. This defensive unit for U-Pike has been tabbed as the dark side. Take a lot of pride in your defensive unit and your teammates, don't you?
Yes. We've grown since my freshman year. We got a lot better, and this year I think we can be the best we can possibly be in the Mid-South Conference, I think.
I'm going to ask you the same question I did Elijah Bell, because this team's lost 3 games, very close games, 11 points for those 3 games, and games that when you look at stats, this team should have won. Take away a mistake here, a mistake there. Has it affected this team mentally as far as confidence goes? Is confidence rattled with this U-Pike team?
No, we still have 4 conference games. I think we can pull those out, but we're going to take one game at a time and get win by win.
You played your high school football at J-Town.
Yes.
In the Louisville area, there's good football. Week in and week out, you're going to face a good team, a quality opponent. The Mid-South Conference, much like that. What was the transition like? If you're talking to a high school senior today who's preparing to transition to Mid-South Conference football, what would you tell them about the transition from high school to college?
It's difficult. Freshman year, I had a lot of good seniors and other players that helped me get through it. Coming here was difficult, stress, homesick. But after a while, meeting people and have a good coaching staff and good players to work with, and it's pretty good.
You've got a knack for getting in opponents' backfields, tackles for loss. It's one of your career stats as we look at tackles for loss from Nick Steff. You got a lot of guys that'll have big number tackles, but tackles for loss. You get in the backfield, you're able to get away from offensive linemen. What do you attribute that to?
My Coach Susi, he's helped me a lot this year. I started at linebacker and I got moved down to DN where I'm more comfortable with, and it just techniques and confidence that I know I'm going to get back there and get that sack.
Out quicken those big boys that spend too much time at the buffet. Huh?
Yeah.
Those offensive linemen, they take a lot of pride in the amount of food they eat.
Yes. I eat a lot too, but little big guys.
Yeah. The hogs down in the trenches. We have appreciation for those offensive linemen, and I know you do yours on this U-Pike team, but take advantage of those big guys on the opponent, on the opposing team. Nick Steff, good luck to you this Saturday against Campbellsville, and let's close it out on a win streak.
Yeah, we're going to get those next 5 games. We're going to take one game at a time. But I think we can do it. We got the players to do it and coaching staff, and I think we can do it.
Soft-spoken, in studio. He's a wild man on the defensive side for this U-Pike team. Nick Steff, 6'5", senior out of J-Town. We'll step out. We'll be rejoined by Coach Al Holland Jr. next. We're talking U-Pike football, the Al Holland Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back to the Al Holland Show. We're talking University of Pikeville Bears football as we meet the players during the course of the season. Elijah Bell tonight from the offensive side, a speedster in the receiving corps, a special team specialist for this U-Pike team, and someone that other teams have to prepare for. And Nick Steff, you've heard the name throughout his career here at the University of Pikeville. He's a guy that finds a way. Not the biggest guy on the defensive side, but he's one of those guys that will find a way to get in the backfield and create chaos defensively. Rejoined now by Coach Al Holland Jr. And Coach, we wrap up last week with Cumberland, Tennessee, 2-4. We talk about mistakes that have been made, making corrections, the process of the season. And early on, we weren't a fan of the schedule. When you looked at it and you had a Mid-South Conference East game to open things up, and then you didn't see a Mid-South Conference East opponent until late October. Right. Now you've got a 1-0 record in the East Division and 4 of those games remaining. Do you like where you are now?
Yeah, I like where we're at. And plus we have an off week going into those last 4, and that means a lot. And not everybody else has that luxury. And so that's big for us to be able to get healed up. Because we got some guys that's banged up, and, you might have a couple guys have injuries this week. That gives you that extra week of work, and also to get some things fine-tuned going into down that stretch. But, like our guys said, we're taking it a one-game approach. And, we got to win this one this week, and that's our main focus. Let's win this one this week, and then we'll worry about those last 4 and worry about getting, fine-tuning some other things. But, let's take the task at hand, and, that's part of the process. And even, just like the other night, you watch a game and, a team scores late in the ball game. But they got a 2-point play, they got to make a stop. You got to forget about plays,
sure.
The last play, and let's play the next play. And we try to use those examples every single day and some different scenarios so these guys can learn from other people so things like that don't happen to us. And, I love where our football team is. We're still young at a lot of spots, right. But we're getting more experience every single week, and we continue to improve. And I do see improvement, and that's big for us. We're making some young, youthful mistakes. part of the process.
There you go.
But we got to continue to get better. We got a tough task at hand this week. You know, NAIA Player of the Week, a quarterback I'm very familiar with, and you know, a great player. But you know, we'll have a tough task going to their place, homecoming. But you know, I think our guys are prepared and ready for these type situations, and they're ready for this atmosphere, and they're ready to go down here and try to prove something. You know, because you know, Campbellsville goes to Faulkner and beats number 3 Faulkner on the road. You know,
Right.
Anybody can beat anybody in this league any week. We just got to go bring our A game. Let's go play for 60 minutes, guys. Let's see what happens. And let's not play for 58. Let's not play for 55. Let's play for all 60, and let's leave it all out there. And then, hey, we get extra week of rest. And, you know, let's leave it all on the field. So.
There you go. Coach Al Holland Jr., Campbellsville, you mentioned they go to Faulkner, get a win over number 3 Faulkner. What type of team do you expect to see? What will we see on Saturday?
You know, they're going to throw the football around. They're going to try to press us down the football field and try to get the ball in their wideouts. You know, say they threw it 50 sometimes this past week. And, you know, Jacob Russell, they're going to put the ball in his hands, and we got to put pressure on him and make him move in the pocket and make plays. And, you know, he's a big quarterback. So we're going to have to wrap him up when we get opportunities to get sacks. You know, we can't go in there and arm tackle him. We got to go in there and fit him up and hold on for dear life and gang tackle him in the backfield. You know, defensively, they're going to fly around. They're going to try to put a lot of pressure on our wideouts to make plays. You know, do they try to load the box and try to take away our running game or two-headed monster with Kirksey and Weaver? So, you know, I have to use the quarterback a little bit in our run game. So it's going to be a tough task for us on the road, but, you know, something that I feel like we can go down there and handle and have some success, but we got to play well.
This team's been battle tested.
Oh, yeah.
And they've responded in great ways all season long. Coach, good luck on the road at Campbellsville Saturday.
Sure, appreciate it.
2 p.m. kickoff. We'll be on the air with complete coverage beginning at 1:40 on your home for UPike Athletics Z1075. On behalf of Coach Al Holland, Elijah Bell, and Nick Staff, our player guest tonight, I'm Andrew Joyce. Thanks for tuning in to the Al Holland Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless.